In the far reaches of the galaxy, a powerful alien empire set its sights on Earth. These aliens believed that humanity was a great danger. Their leader, a ruthless being named Zalor, decided that the only way to keep the galaxy safe was to wipe out all humans. Zalor was smart, strong, and very cruel. He had conquered many planets before, and he believed he could easily defeat Earth. On Earth, life was busy. People went to work, children went to school, and families enjoyed their time together. But everything changed when the sky darkened with alien ships. These massive vessels blocked out the sun, casting shadows over cities everywhere. People looked up in fear, their hearts racing as they realized what was happening. In a small town, a young girl named Mia watched with wide eyes as the alien ships hovered above. She clutched her teddy bear tightly, feeling a deep sense of dread. Her father, a soldier, had left to fight for their safety. "Everything will be fine, sweetheart," he had told her. But now, with the ships above, she could only wonder if she would ever see him again. As the aliens unleashed their weapons, bright flashes lit up the sky. Buildings crumbled and explosions echoed through the streets. Panic spread like wildfire. People screamed and ran for shelter, but there was nowhere to hide. The aliens used their advanced technology to destroy everything in their path. Cities fell one by one like dominoes, leaving only ruins behind. In the heart of the city, brave defenders fought back. Soldiers gathered to protect their homes, armed with rifles and determination. They fired at the alien ships, but their weapons were no match for the powerful alien forces. Zalor watched from his command ship, cold and unfeeling. He had no mercy for the humans. They were nothing but insects to be crushed. As the battle raged on, humanity's last stand began. Soldiers fought with everything they had. They were strong, but the aliens were stronger. The aliens had advanced weapons, ships that moved faster than the eye could see, and shields that deflected bullets with ease. The humans, though brave, were losing. Meanwhile, Mia's mother was searching for her daughter. She moved through the chaos, calling Mia's name. "Mia! Where are you?" Her voice trembled with fear, but she kept searching. She knew she had to find her girl. The destruction around her was overwhelming, but she pushed on, driven by love. In the command center of the alien ship, Zalor gave the final order. "Initiate the eradication protocol! Leave no survivors!" His voice was harsh, echoing through the ship. The soldiers obeyed without question, their hearts hardened against the humans. As the command was carried out, a massive beam of energy shot down from the ship. It struck the ground, causing a blinding light to engulf the area. The earth shook and a deafening roar filled the air. Mia's mother, still searching, felt the ground tremble beneath her feet. She turned just in time to see the light approaching. It was too late. Mia, hiding in her room, saw the bright flash through her window. She squeezed her teddy bear and closed her eyes, wishing this was all a nightmare. But it was real. In that moment, everything changed forever. The beam of energy swept through the city, leaving nothing but ash in its wake. The once vibrant streets fell silent. The cries of the innocent were silenced as the alien forces celebrated their victory. They believed they had won, that humanity was no more. As the dust settled, Zalor looked down at Earth with satisfaction. "This is what happens to those who oppose us," he said, his cold eyes scanning the barren landscape. He had no idea that deep beneath the Arctic ice, humanity's greatest hope still lay hidden. The super soldiers, once the pride of humanity, were still sleeping in their frozen chambers. They were Earth's last chance, waiting for the moment when they would awaken and rise to reclaim their world. Little did the aliens know, the end of humanity was not as final as they thought. Deep beneath the icy surface of the Arctic, a hidden facility lay silent. It was a place forgotten by time, built to protect Earth's greatest warriors, the super soldiers. These men and women were the best of humanity, enhanced with special abilities and trained to defend the planet. But they had been put into cryostasis, frozen in time, waiting for a moment when they were truly needed. As the alien ships destroyed Earth above, a strange hum began to fill the facility. The sound was soft at first, but it grew louder, echoing through the cold chambers. Inside, rows of cryopods glimmered in the dim light. Each pod held a soldier, wrapped in a deep sleep, unaware of the chaos above. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed, cutting through the darkness. The facility's automated system had detected a problem. The cryopods began to heat up, causing a surge of energy to course through them. One by one, the pods began to unlock, hissing as the icy locks released their captives. In one pod, a soldier named Commander Jake awoke first. He blinked, his mind foggy from sleep. As the icy mist cleared, he felt an overwhelming sense of confusion. "Where am I?" he muttered, sitting up and rubbing his eyes. He looked around and saw the dimly lit room, the rows of pods, and the flashing red lights. Panic surged through him as he remembered the last moments before he fell asleep. The war, the battles, the fear of losing everything. Jake climbed out of the pod, feeling strange and unsteady. His body was strong and powerful, but it felt different after being frozen for so long. He quickly checked the other pods, hoping to find his fellow soldiers waking up. Next to him, a pod hissed open, and a woman named Sarah stepped out. She was a fierce warrior, known for her speed and agility. "What's going on?" she asked, looking around. Her eyes widened as she realized they were not in the middle of a battlefield. "Where are the others?" Before Jake could answer, more pods began to open. Soldiers emerged, each one strong and determined. They quickly gathered around Jake and Sarah, confusion mixed with fear in their eyes. "Listen up!" Jake shouted, his voice cutting through the noise. "We have to figure out what happened and why we're awake. The alarm suggests something is very wrong." As they gathered, memories flooded back. They remembered the last fight for humanity, the battle against the aliens, and then nothing. Now they stood in a facility buried under layers of ice, far from the world they once knew. Suddenly, a holographic screen flickered to life in front of them. The image of a human scientist appeared, looking worried. "Soldiers! You have awakened at a critical time. The alien empire has almost destroyed humanity. You are our last hope!" Jake felt a surge of determination. "What do we need to do?" he asked, his voice strong. "The aliens believe they have won. They are celebrating their victory on the surface, but their technology has weaknesses," the scientist explained. "You must find a way to stop them and awaken the remaining survivors. They need your leadership." The soldiers nodded, their spirits lifting. They had been given a mission, and they would not let humanity down. Jake looked at his team, each face showing a mix of fear and excitement. "We are warriors. We've trained for this. Let's show them what we are capable of." With that, the soldiers quickly moved through the facility, finding their gear and weapons. They suited up, feeling the familiar weight of their armor. It was a comforting reminder of their past. As they prepared to leave, Sarah spoke up. "We have to be smart. The aliens are powerful, but we know how to fight. We can use the element of surprise." The soldiers nodded, their minds focused. They had a chance to reclaim their world, and they would fight for every inch of it. Jake led the way to the exit, where a hidden passage would take them to the surface. As they emerged from the icy depths, the harsh light of the sun blinded them for a moment. They took a deep breath, ready to face whatever awaited them. The world above was forever changed, but they were ready to fight. The awakening of the super soldiers marked a new chapter in the battle for Earth, and they would not back down. The alien empire had no idea what was coming. With the soldiers back in action, humanity had a fighting chance. As the sun rose over the remnants of Earth, the newly awakened super soldiers stepped into a world transformed by destruction. Cities lay in ruins and smoke filled the air. The cries of those who had suffered echoed in their ears. But within the soldiers, a fire burned brightly. They had a mission now, to save humanity and strike back against the alien empire. Commander Jake gathered his team at a makeshift camp in the ruins of a city. Around them, scattered survivors began to emerge, searching for hope among the ashes. The soldiers stood tall, their armor glimmering in the sunlight. They looked like a beacon of hope in a dark world. "Listen up, everyone," Jake called, his voice strong and clear. "We have a chance to fight back, but we can't do it alone. We need to gather more survivors and form a new army. Together we can reclaim our planet." The soldiers nodded, determination filling their hearts. They knew their strength, but they also understood that every person mattered. They needed to inspire others to join them. Sarah stepped forward, her eyes shining with passion. "We should split into teams and search for any remaining groups of people. We can bring them back here and show them they are not alone. Together we are stronger." The plan was set. The soldiers divided into small groups, each taking a different path through the ruined city. They moved quietly, listening for any signs of life. The streets were eerily silent, but every so often they heard the faint sounds of people trying to survive. In one dark alley, Jake and his team found a small group of survivors hiding from the chaos. They looked scared and worn out. "Please, we don't want any trouble," one man said, stepping forward with his hands raised. "We just want to stay safe." Jake raised his hands to calm them. "We're not here to hurt you. We're here to help. We've come back to fight against the aliens who destroyed our home. We need strong people like you to join us." The survivors exchanged glances, uncertainty in their eyes. But as Jake spoke, they could see the determination in his face. "We will protect you, and together we can make a difference. Will you stand with us?" After a moment, the man nodded. "If you can promise safety, then we will fight." Slowly, others began to step forward, joining their cause. Meanwhile, Sarah and her team discovered another group of survivors hiding in a ruined building. They were scavenging for food, looking tired and desperate. "We can't go out there," a woman whispered, glancing nervously at the broken windows. "The aliens will find us." "Not if you stand with us," Sarah said, stepping into the light. "We are super soldiers, and we are ready to fight. If you join us, we can defend this place together. You don't have to live in fear anymore." One by one, the survivors listened. They saw the hope in Sarah's eyes and began to nod. "We will fight," a young man shouted, his voice breaking through the fear. "We will not give up." As the soldiers gathered more people, a sense of unity began to form. They worked together to set up a temporary camp, sharing resources and stories. The camp became a place of hope, where people found strength in each other. In the days that followed, the soldiers trained the new recruits. They taught them how to use weapons, how to move stealthily, and how to defend themselves. It was hard work, but everyone was determined. The survivors were no longer just afraid, they were becoming fighters. Jake led the training sessions, pushing everyone to do their best. "You are stronger than you think," he encouraged them. "Together we can take back what was lost." As the sun set over the camp, Jake stood with Sarah, watching the new army come together. "We are building something special here," he said, a smile spreading across his face. "This is just the beginning." Sarah nodded, her heart swelling with pride. "We may have lost everything, but we are finding hope again, and the aliens will soon learn that they underestimated us." With the new army forming, the soldiers felt ready to take on the alien empire. They had faced destruction and despair, but now they stood united. The fight for humanity was far from over, and they were determined to win. In the distance, the dark clouds of the alien ships still loomed, but hope shone brighter than ever. With every new recruit, their strength grew, and the soldiers prepared for the battle ahead. They would reclaim their planet and ensure that humanity would rise once more. As the dawn broke over the ruined city, a renewed sense of purpose filled the air. Jake stood at the front of the camp, looking over the faces of the newly formed army. Each person, once lost and afraid, now stood tall and ready to fight. The time had come to strike back against the alien empire that had taken everything from them. "Today is the day we show the aliens they can't win," Jake announced, his voice booming with confidence. "We have trained hard and we are ready. We will take the fight to them." A roar of agreement echoed through the camp. Soldiers and civilians alike raised their weapons, a mix of old and new, ready to defend their home. Sarah, now a fierce leader alongside Jake, stepped forward. "We know the aliens are celebrating above, thinking they have won. We will use that to our advantage. Surprise will be our ally." With a plan in mind, they quickly organized their forces. The group divided into several smaller teams, each assigned a specific target. The main goal was to disrupt the alien supply lines and take back essential resources that humanity desperately needed. The first team, led by Sarah, headed toward an alien supply depot rumored to be located on the outskirts of the city. "Stay low and move quickly," she instructed her team as they approached the target. "We need to get in and out before they even know we're here." Meanwhile, Jake led the second team to a nearby communication tower. "If we can take down their ability to communicate, it will give us a massive advantage," he explained. The soldiers nodded, their faces set with determination. As they moved toward their targets, the tension in the air was palpable. Each step brought them closer to the enemy, but they had trained for this moment. They were ready. Sarah's team reached the supply depot first. It was guarded by several alien soldiers, their strange forms moving about in the shadows. The team took cover behind debris, watching the aliens as they chatted amongst themselves. "We wait for my signal," Sarah whispered, her eyes fixed on the guards. After a few tense moments, Sarah raised her weapon and shouted, "Now!" They sprang into action, launching their surprise attack. The soldiers moved like a well-oiled machine, quickly taking down the guards with precision. The noise of their battle echoed through the air, alerting other aliens nearby. "We need to move fast," Sarah shouted, rushing toward the supplies. They quickly gathered weapons, food, and medical supplies, knowing these would help their fellow humans. Meanwhile, Jake and his team approached the communication tower. They spotted a few alien guards patrolling the area. "We'll go in quietly," Jake instructed. "Take them out one by one." The team moved stealthily, using the rubble as cover. With a series of coordinated strikes, they dispatched the guards quickly, leaving no one to raise the alarm. As they reached the base of the tower, Jake set to work on disabling the communication systems. "Just a few more seconds," he muttered, fingers flying over the controls. Suddenly, alarms blared as the aliens realized something was wrong. "We've got company!" one soldier shouted, aiming their weapon at the approaching aliens. "Finish the job!" Jake yelled, his heart racing. With a final click, the communication tower went dark. "We did it!" he cheered, but their victory was short-lived as the aliens began to swarm the area. Back at the supply depot, Sarah's team was finishing loading supplies when they heard the commotion from Jake's team. "We have to get out of here!" she shouted. They grabbed what they could carry and made their escape, running back toward the camp. Just as they reached safety, alien ships appeared in the sky, their dark forms blocking out the sun. The soldiers' hearts raced. They had to regroup and prepare for a counterattack. Jake and Sarah quickly assembled their forces. "We've struck a blow against the aliens, but they won't let this go unpunished," Jake said, breathing heavily. "We need to be ready for anything." The soldiers looked at one another, fear mixed with excitement. They had tasted victory, and now they were more determined than ever. The fight for humanity was only beginning, and they would not back down. As the alien ships descended, casting shadows over the camp, the soldiers stood united. They had fought for survival and had begun to reclaim their world. Now they were ready to show the aliens that humanity was not finished yet. Together they would rise, stronger than ever, and take the fight to the heart of the enemy. The sky was a dark gray as the alien ships loomed above the camp. Their presence cast a shadow over the makeshift homes of the soldiers and survivors who had banded together. But beneath the surface of fear lay a fierce determination. Jake and Sarah stood at the front, ready to lead their people into the final battle for Earth. "Today is the day we take back our planet," Jake shouted, his voice echoing across the camp. "We have trained hard, we have fought together, and now we will show the aliens that we will never give up." The soldiers cheered, their spirits lifting as they prepared for the fight of their lives. Each person checked their weapons, and the tension in the air grew thicker. They knew the risks, but they also knew the stakes. The future of humanity depended on this moment. As they gathered their forces, Sarah took a moment to look around. She saw the faces of people who had once been afraid and lost, now filled with courage and resolve. "We will stand together," she reminded them. "We are stronger united. Let's make this count." With a plan in place, Jake and Sarah divided their army into 3 main groups. One group would defend the camp, another would focus on taking out the enemy ships, and the third would push into the heart of the alien command center. "We need to disrupt their operations and send a clear message," Jake instructed. "Let them know humanity will not be defeated." As the alien ships descended lower, beams of light began to scan the ground. Jake's heart raced. "Here they come," he yelled. "Stay sharp." The first wave of aliens landed, their strange forms spilling out of the ships. They were met with a barrage of gunfire from the soldiers, who stood their ground despite the odds. The sound of blaster fire filled the air as both sides clashed in a fierce battle. In the chaos, Sarah led her group toward the nearest alien ship. "We need to take that down," she shouted, pointing at the massive vessel. The soldiers moved quickly, dodging blasts and taking out enemies as they pushed forward. They fought with a mixture of fear and hope, their determination driving them. Jake, meanwhile, directed his team in the defense of the camp. "Don't let them through," he yelled, rallying his troops. They formed a line, standing shoulder to shoulder, ready to protect their home. With every shot fired, they pushed back against the aliens, refusing to let fear take hold. As the battle raged on, the soldiers began to gain ground. Sarah's team reached the alien ship and quickly set explosives to take it down. "Get clear!" she shouted, and they raced back just as the ship exploded, sending debris flying in all directions. A cheer erupted from the soldiers as they watched the ship crumble. But the alien forces were relentless. More ships descended, and the skies filled with chaos. Jake and his team continued to fight, but they were outnumbered. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the ground, and an alien command center nearby was taken down by Sarah's team. They could see the shock on the aliens' faces as their control began to crumble. "Now's our chance!" Jake shouted, sensing the tide turning. "Push forward! Take the fight to them!" With renewed energy, the soldiers surged forward. The aliens, once so confident, now seemed to falter. As they pushed into the heart of the enemy, they saw their chance to reclaim their world. In the midst of the battle, Sarah spotted the alien commander. "There," she yelled, pointing. "We need to take him out!" She led her team toward the commander, weaving through the chaos. They fought bravely, and with one final push, Sarah took down the commander, a decisive blow to the alien forces. With their leader defeated, the remaining aliens began to retreat. The soldiers cheered as they watched the enemy ships turn and flee. "We did it!" Jake shouted, a smile breaking across his face. "We fought back and we won!" As the dust settled, the survivors emerged from their hiding places, their eyes filled with disbelief and joy. They rushed to join the soldiers, celebrating their hard-fought victory. The camp, once a place of fear, had become a symbol of hope and resilience. Jake and Sarah stood together, looking out at the remnants of the battle. "We have a long road ahead," Jake said, his voice filled with determination. "But we will rebuild. We will make this world a better place." Sarah nodded, her heart swelling with pride. "We are no longer just survivors. We are fighters. Together we will rise from the ashes of our past." As the sun began to rise over the horizon, a new day dawned for humanity. The fight was not over, but they had proven one important thing. As long as they stood together, they could overcome any challenge. The final battle was just the beginning of their new journey, and they were ready to face whatever lay ahead.